This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Right, so I just watched the IFL TV interview with Eddie Hearn, and he has said that from now on he will not be talking about the Wilder-Joshua negotiations. They want everything kept in-house. So, moving on from that, one point he did say though, that was, first of all, Tyson Fury won that fight. Again, obvious, okay, everybody knows that Deontay Wilder is now a paper champion. Tyson Fury should be the champion, and he got robbed, wholeheartedly robbed. Now, with Eddie Hearn, he says that Anthony Joshua would find it an easier fight against Deontay Wilder than what he would against Tyson Fury. His whole mindset about Fury has totally changed, okay? It's a case of where he thought Tyson Fury was is totally different to where Tyson Fury is right now. A 70% Tyson Fury schooled the WBC heavyweight champion. That showed how poor Wilder actually is. But at the same time, that showed how good Tyson Fury is, even at 70%. But yet, you put him in a rematch against Wilder, Tyson Fury is going to be better, and it will just absolutely annihilate Deontay Wilder. But regardless of that, Anthony Joshua would find it an easier job against Deontay Wilder, and as he said, it would be an absolute bloodbath, and what he would do to Wilder would be ugly. He will knock out Wilder, easy work. Now, I know a lot of people say that that version of Deontay Wilder would knock out Anthony Joshua. No, he wouldn't. He really wouldn't, because he wouldn't be able to land. Okay, he will not be able to land. People say how elusive Tyson Fury is, and he is elusive. But he doesn't carry the same kind of power that Anthony Joshua does. In other words, when Anthony Joshua hits Wilder, Wilder will go into retreat. Okay, Deontay Wilder had no fear of Tyson Fury's power. He had no fear of it whatsoever. Towards the end of the fight, he was starting to, because he was starting to gas himself. And at that point, I think weighing 209 pounds, was it? Just above cruiserweight. That was stupidity, pure stupidity. It really was. But for Anthony Joshua, he would just grab hold of Wilder and break him apart, beat him up, and take his head clean off. Okay, and Tyson Fury would be a tougher fight for Anthony Joshua than Deontay Wilder. I have said this consistently for quite some time, so I'm glad that Eddie Hearn has finally jumped to the same tune, that Deontay Wilder is no match for Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua will break up Deontay Wilder. He will break his ribs on the inside and take his head off on the outside. He's an excellent counter puncher, and that's what he does. People say that Anthony Joshua is stiff, he's robotic, he's got no head movement and what have you. Well, okay, let's put him in the ring. Let's put him in the ring, because for me, as I said, Anthony Joshua annihilates Wilder. He beats him to the jab. He'll be first with a jab and first with a big right hand. Wilder cannot avoid shots. He just doesn't know how to. Running away is not avoiding, because eventually he'll get caught and he'll just get taken apart. He is a loss waiting to happen. I've said this for quite some time. Some of you guys will have heard me say that Deontay Wilder is a decision loss waiting to happen, and it happened this past weekend. Tyson Fury, a 70% man who's nowhere near ready yet, but he's certainly ready for Deontay Wilder, okay? But a 70% Tyson Fury, a man who is still overweight, a guy who is still not fit, a guy who went through 2.5 years without stepping foot in a gym, come back and exposed Deontay Wilder. And a lot of the Wildettes, some of the fan channels were saying how this is number 1 versus number 2 in the world. And they were saying Tyson Fury is number 1. Why was they saying that? Because they seen Tyson Fury as easy work. In other words, they wanted to bestow upon Deontay Wilder the number 1 in the heavyweight division because he's lineal. Well, Deontay Wilder is not lineal, so you have to keep to your words and say Tyson Fury is number 1. But you won't hear him say it now, will you? Of course you won't. But I agree. I think that Anthony Joshua will break the ribs of Deontay Wilder and take his head clean off. You will see Deontay Wilder asleep in the middle of that canvas. I can guarantee it. In fact, he'll be lucky if he manages to stay inside the ring. I think Anthony Joshua will hit him that hard that he will probably go through the damn ropes, or maybe even over the damn ropes. Okay, because listen, I was always confident Anthony Joshua would beat Deontay Wilder, but after watching that, and of course against Luis Ortiz, Joshua will beat him to a pulp, as would Dylan White as well. They both would. Deontay Wilder, next fight, I'm pretty sure he's going to lose if he's going to fight Joshua, Fury, or Dylan White. He's going to lose his very next fight, and there'll be no decision about it. It will not go to the scorecards. Dylan White takes his head off. Anthony Joshua takes his head off. Tyson Fury also will take his head off. Drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up and subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.